You guys just you keep coming around. I just keep hearing about you guys.
And I might need to tell Ryan to cut that up a little bit and just put it in my audio for my phone.
First of all, I love the game. I had a passion to play the game, not only football, but I love the game of golf. And what it lends to a person and the friendships you develop on the golf course.
It's been a pleasure being on the drop. I wish you guys all the best down the road.
As someone like you have that golf itch like a lot of us do.
I keep track of you, and you are moving. You are on the move.
So listen, I'm a big New Jersey golf guy. You're very kind, Mike, and you too, Ryan. It's a pleasure to be on just a couple of Jersey boys here talking about something we love. All the best. I really enjoyed it.
This is the Drop Podcast where we talk golfing in the Garden State. I'm Mike Porro, and this is Ryan Kulot.
What's up, Drop Pod people? Welcome back. This is episode 138. You got Mike and I here. Let's run through the schedule real quick and then get off and running in the episode here, Mike. Yesterday was the let's start over there, Mike. Yesterday was Memorial Day. Happy Memorial Day to everybody. Hope everybody had a good celebration. And I think I did want to say this, Mike. I think one of the things that gets overlooked is why we celebrate. A lot of people are, we got the day off and barbecues and family and the beach and all that kind of stuff. But a couple guys out there did some great things in actually promoting why we celebrate Memorial Day. Brian Mackey, Nick Bova, and there are a few others who I'm forgetting their names, did a 100-hole challenge to raise money for veterans. And it's just an amazing cause that they do that work for. And I'm sure that there's still ways that you can donate if you'd like to, if you haven't. But I do want to give a big shout out to them. I believe there was 5 of them, Mike, so I'm missing 3, which I apologize for. But big shout out to those that did the 100-hole challenge and those that have already donated. Thank you, because it is a great cause and a good way to remember why we have Memorial Day. So a big shout out to everybody there. And hope everyone had a fun and memorable Memorial Day weekend there. It wasn't the best beach weather, but hopefully you still found some stuff to do. On that, Mike put out yesterday his Mike verse. He played Blue Heron Pines, 9th hole. If you haven't seen it, head on over to our YouTube or Instagram and go check it out. Today is the 27th. You got episode 138. Mike and I here on the video. If you're on YouTube, make sure you subscribe, leave a comment if you feel so inclined. If you're listening, make sure you rate, review, subscribe, all those things we ask for. You don't know how important those are for us in doing this. Tomorrow, the 28th, is Ryan Verse. Still played Caledonia. Mike, I've had a dry May. I have not played golf yet in May.
Wow.
Isn't that crazy?
Well, I think that's what people don't realize. Like, listen, I think people think that you and I golf 24/7, 365. Unfortunately, that just is not the case.
Yeah.
Life gets in the way. Things get hectic. Things get busy. And
yeah,
thank God for Caledonia.
Right. Thank God for Caledonia. And honestly, the weather hasn't been great on the days where I have been able to play. I've just had, stuff going on. So it's been pretty dry. So we're still at Caledonia. And like I said, thank God for them. The 8th hole, Caledonia, beautiful par 5. And you'll have to wait and see tomorrow to see how that comes out there. Our interview for this week is with Craig Smith. He is the head pro at Morris County Golf Club. This is a big interview, Mike, because Morris County is where they're hosting the Mid-Am, which is coming up next week. Something that we're going to talk about later this episode. But Craig kind of breaks it down for us, talks about the course, what's needed. You or I both have not been there, so he really gave us kind of an inside scoop on what's going on. So kind of a preview of the Mid-Am there and a good way to kind of preview the Mid-Am, for lack of a better term. So, and then Friday, again, I haven't played yet, so you and I didn't, no Mike verse, so we don't have anything going on for Friday. Anything that comes out would be a bonus. So That's
I
kind of
do
the
think
weekly schedule.
we got something in the works on the Friday.
Oh, okay.
Shaq and I behind the scenes are trying to recycle some Plainfield from Ryan versus Plainfield and make a little 3 with me from Ryan at Plainfield and find 3 holes that we want to put out there.
Oh boy.
So we got some things working behind the scenes. So stay tuned. There will be content Friday. It's just on a TBD, and it's going to be a 3 with me, Ryan, that is, at Plainfield. So stay tuned.
The 3 with me that I don't know about. So this is going to be. I'm sure that I'm going to regret not having a hand in this at all. So
No, you will love it. You'll love it, and then you'll love it some more.
All right. So that's our weekly schedule for this week. Coming up.
Today's episode is brought to you by All County Exteriors, your go-to for roofing, siding, windows, doors, and all things exterior home remodeling. As a third-generation family-owned company with over 40 years of experience, All County has earned the reputation for top-quality craftsmanship and service, far outlasting the industry standard. Whether it's a small repair or a full home upgrade, they serve both homeowners and builders across New Jersey. They're deeply rooted in the community, proudly supporting Make-A-Wish, St. Jude's, Roofs for Troops, and parents of autistic children. Thinking about a project? Now's the time. Get an instant 20% off for a limited time. Call 732-370-2780 or email them info@allcountyonline.com to schedule your free, no obligation consultation. That's 732-370-2780. All County Exteriors, quality you can trust. All right, let me hit you real quick with the fast facts this week, recapping the PGA Tour out there in Texas, the Charles Schwab Challenge. Listen, early on, you saw a lot of New Jersey guys right at the top of that leaderboard. Frankly, John Pack was leading after day 1. Chris was T3 after day 2, with John being right there at T2 as well. Like these guys were there, right there. Unfortunately, they both had kind of rough weekends, putting the final touches on a good Thursday, Friday. Chris and John both ended up finishing T28, which, all things considered, that just continues Chris's strong play as what he's done lately. John kind of gets back in the mix. And little backdoor T22 is Max Graceman. I mean, came out of nowhere, played a very good weekend, and kind of just climbed the leaderboard to getting, a little higher finish than the other two.
Yeah, it's a shame that John and Chris weren't able to put together better weekends, because they were, again, leading after day 1, T3 after day 2. Like, they were right up there as high on the leaderboard as you could go. So it is unfortunate, but that's golf. It's a marathon, not a sprint. So good for Max for kind of backdooring a T25 finish, a top 25 finish, I should say, and kind of grinding out a good. A rather successful weekend.
Yep. And then this week you got the Memorial, a signature event. Unfortunately, Max is the only one in the field. There is not an opposite field event this week. So best of luck to Max at Jack's tournament. That would be a nice one to win.
It would be. Did I see something where the winner has dinner with Jack that night? Did you see that? I thought I saw something that there's a Jack hosts the winner. I just saw it in scrolling, and I didn't really pay too much attention, but that's kind of what I took from it. It's pretty cool.
Maybe they'll just title it "A Snack with Jack." Nonetheless, I like that. Let's on the Corn Ferry Tour recap and the Visit Knoxville Open. And as you recall from last week, we figured out that tournament was in Knoxville. Unfortunately, and I never got a reason why, but James did withdraw. Not really sure if there was injury or something going on. I'd venture to say no, nothing really major happened, because I looked ahead to this week and he's in the field. So hopefully all is good with James. I will say this, our boy Ryan McCormick played very, very well again. A T13 finish at the Visit Knoxville Open in Knoxville, Tennessee, in case, again, you did not know where that was. A good showing. Both are in the field this week at the UNC Health Championship, probably in UNC.
Yeah. Yeah, good for Ryan T13. That's what we talk about, Mike. You always mention cash and checks, snapping necks. That's what we got to be doing. So he's hopefully turning around a little bit. He's playing some good golf as well. So and best of luck to James. I don't know why the WD, but hopefully things are all good. Just needed a break. So we'll see how they do this week.
Yeah, and then what I'm going to do next week, I'm going to give you a little heads up as to where these guys fit and where they sit in the top 100, in the top 20, in terms of their respective tours, to kind of give us a little 6-month, heads up. Like, where are guys halfway through the season? Are they, inside where they need to be, outside, things along those lines. So it kind of gives everybody, all right, we got 6 months left here of the season, more or less, give or take. Don't quote me on that, but we'll see. Give you a little update there.
I like that. Good. That's going to be a good little update.
And that is it for today's Fast Facts, presented by the Drop Podcast.
Mike, let's move in. Again, I haven't gotten to play, but you have been able to. You're a less busy person than I am. The girls, they have their dances, they have their all the things they're doing. So you drop them off. You got time to frolic around while they're doing that stuff. So you got to play Blue Heron Pines recently. Let's talk about Blue Heron Pines, Jaworski course that I've never been able to get to. I haven't made it happen yet. But what'd you think of the course? Talk to us about how you played, the course conditions. I know your story that you put out there did fairly well. So talk to us about your day at Blue Heron Pines.
Yeah, I guess I got to address, the elephant in the room first and foremost is I did put the over under out, right? And I know you yelled at me loud about the number being set at 78.5.
Yes.
That was way too high.
Too high.
I want to put this in perspective. Okay. So when we say too high, I played the Black Tees. Okay. The Black Tees was playing at 6,800 yards. It was soaking wet. So we figured it was going to play even a little bit longer than that. I knew the game wasn't sharp. We didn't know what putter was going to make it into the bag that day until I opened the trunk. So I was like, you know what? I think a fair thing is 39 on each side, like 78. If I go 3 over on each side, I thought that was a fair number. Well, I will say this. I didn't realize there was that much hate from all followers on Instagram. I mean, not only did you smash the over button, as I was going to play worse than that, Shaq smashed the over button. And what made this icing on the cake is my daughter decided to chime in on the poll and she smashed the over.
Yes.
So I was on the 5th hole out there and I was fuming. All my guys were just hating on me. And then overwhelmingly, it was like 50, 60, 70 more votes were on the over. So I took it upon myself to say, okay, let the haters hate. I got to grind this a little bit. And I can't lie. I was 3 over par through my first 5 holes with 2 3-putts and an absolute no clue what was going on in the greens. I switched putting grips again 9 different times on the golf course. So I don't know what happened until I finally said, I'm just going conventional on all long putts and the claw on all 15-footers in it. So that's just what I went with. And it seemed to work out after that hole because I did shoot even par from the 6th hole on. But I'll say this about the golf course. So I did smash the over for everybody out there hating on me. I don't know if you wanted to comment on it.
I'll certainly take it. I'm the one with the mic, so I'll defend all of us. First off, I will do anything that makes you angry. So that's the first part. So I will hammer all overs all the time because I know you'll look at it and be like, this motherfucker.
I'm going to start setting them at 90 then. I'm going to start setting them at 90.
Honestly, when I saw it, Mike, I thought there was a reason. I was like, there must be a reason why it's so high. Because while the last time that you played golf at North Jersey was the last time, right? You didn't play great in that last round. you're playing really good golf. And while your putting stroke is a topic of conversation, to say the least, I think you have a good putting stroke. I really do just believe that it's between your ears. But putting that at 78.5, I was like, there's got to be a reason why. Maybe you broke your wrist in the interim. Maybe maybe you're being chased by a pack of wolves. There's got to be something that's adding more pressure, because you're going to shoot under there, because you're a better golfer than that. So that's why I thought it was too high. If you go by the handicap, like we were saying, it should be closer to 74, 75. So that's why I thought it was going to be that's why I thought it was a little too high. But again, the mixture of, I will do whatever I can to make you as angry as possible, and maybe there was something, some other factor, because it did seem, again, from even just trying to be objective, it seemed like it was a little too high for someone of your caliber.
I like that explanation more than the angry explanation. So I will gladly accept that. So, I mean,
but to my point, Mike, what'd you shoot? 75, right? You're playing really good golf. So
yeah, I played well that day.
Yeah,
I did. I will say this, to your point, I did hit 16 greens, right?
it's a lot of
16
greens.
Right. Now I shot 75. Do you know I had 38 putts, which meant more than 50% of the shots I hit were putts? That's frankly embarrassing to the game of golf.
It's a lot of putts.
Yeah, a lot. Over 50%.
Right, but you're supposed to two putt every green, correct? That's like the fairway green two putt. That's the par 3 is hit the green two putt. So 30 18 36, and would you have 38 putts? So you had two more than you should have, right? And probably, someone who's probably hitting it that well is closer, so you got better opportunities to have some one putts. I don't want to give anything away, but I know you should have made another putt at least on there. So I guess that came out last week. You're 3 with me, right? You should have made, like, that putt lipped out and took a left turn after the hole. So, like, that's one that you probably should have knocked down as well. So I get it that it's high, because you should have knocked down some of those, but really it's just 2 off the pace, which it's not a huge deal, right?
No, I mean, okay, you're trying to spin it in a positive.
I'm trying
I appreciate
to spin
that
it from someone who's okay. So that's how the double digit handicapper thinks about it, right? So
valid point. But nonetheless, so enough about my game and things of that nature. Let's talk about the golf course, okay? And I want to say this, because prior to playing there, when I did, it had just rained and rained and rained. So it was cart path only. So now kind of ahead of time, okay, I'm sure the golf course has to be drenched, right? It's that much rain. You're sticking people on a cart path, Memorial Day weekend. They want to ride around and see the golf course. I was beyond impressed with how well that thing drained, knowing how much rain it got. And that was one of the things I did comment to different workers out there, is like, wow, this place actually drains particularly well, because I was expecting puddles and bunkers, fairways being like atrocious. And you saw the 3 with me that we put out right away. It wasn't anything of where puddles were all over the place.
Yeah, for sure.
And what I was blown away with was how well the greens were rolling. My, oh my. I was like, again, you think you're going to step and it's going to slosh and it's going to slosh and it's going to slosh on the greens. Man, the ball rolled over top of itself. There were not any puddles on the greens. They were not slow by any stretch of the imagination. So I can only imagine even what condition the course could have been in if it was firm and fast and drier weather had come through. Because I will say this, I was very, very much impressed with that golf course, knowing that I had not played there since I checked. It was like October of 22 was the last time that I had played there. So I remembered some things about the golf course here and there, but listen, it's one of those spots down there in South Jersey, part of the Ron Jaworski, golf enterprise that he's got going on down there, that it was in very, very good shape. And I'll say this, I know this is a question you and I get a lot. How much? How much? Right? That matters to everybody, and I respect that. So I played at Friday morning at 6:54. That was my tee time. And it cost me with a cart $120. I didn't think that was particularly bad on Memorial Day weekend, 6:50 tee time.
Yeah.
At all.
First tee time?
No, 6:00 was first tee time.
Jesus.
Yeah. I couldn't get that one. Are you looking for the perfect place to tee it up this season? Or just looking for a great spot for casual comfort food? Or the most picturesque backdrop for the wedding of your dreams? Then you need to visit Galloping Hill Golf Course in Kenilworth, New Jersey. Galloping Hill has 18 holes of championship level golf open all year round. They also offer a top 50 in the country learning center that also includes the swing suite at Galloping Hill for those bad weather days during the season, in addition to a 9-hole course that is ranked in the top 10 of short courses in the entire country. Galloping Hill is more than just golf. The Hill Tavern Bar and Grill is a gastro pub with seasonal food and beer options updated regularly with amazing views of the course. Hosting over 150 golf outings and over 400 social events per year, their catering team wins awards each year from the Knot and Wedding Wire. Schedule a tour for your special event at the clubhouse at gallopinghill.com. To top it all off, Galloping Hill will be hosting the New Jersey Men's Public Links Championship for the record 12th time. It's all happening this year at Galloping Hill.
No, I don't think that's that bad at all. I really don't. We talk a lot about how golf is just expensive now. You're not going anywhere that's not some kind of dog track for under $100 with a cart. You're just not, and or at least around $100. And the places that do have that, I would doubt that Friday of a holiday weekend is going to do that. So, yeah, good rate. I'm glad the course was good.
Yeah.
Let's talk, because I've never been there, Mike.
I'll give you 2 holes that stood out.
I was just going to ask, give me like an amen corner for
yeah, I knew that. I can kind of mind read some things if for you, just we've been together now for so long, I can just know where you're going next. If you saw the Mike versus yesterday, you want to talk about missing putts. I mean, that putt was like I don't know how that putt did not go in, but nonetheless, that 9th hole leading right back to the clubhouse, a neat little spot, a tough little green. Optics were very solid. Hole was a very good hole. That 9th hole to me was really good. And I think one of the things that people don't realize is back in the heyday, Blue Heron was 36 holes. It was an east and a west. Oh. And it was one of the premier private golf courses back in its heyday. If you ever check in like the early 90s, like this place was one of the spots. Then they decided to build more houses down there, which lost them 18 holes. Mm-hmm. And if my understanding is correct, and someone may correct me here if I'm wrong, I'd love to know. But I think they kept the front 9 of both courses and got rid of the back 9 on both courses. So now the back 9 on the current Blue Heron Pines was at one point, the front 9 of one of the 2 courses.
Okay.
And I believe so because when you go to the back 9, there's a huge putting green right there. There's a huge putting green right there that you could actually practice putting if you were to start on 10.
Midway through the round. Okay.
Yeah. So there's 2 practice putting greens. And I think that's the catch with that spot. So that was one interesting thing. Again, just a little history lesson for guys like you that enjoy that.
I mean, I love that, but
yeah.
That's really interesting. I didn't know that.
And then the one hole on the back 9 I thought was really cool, and I know I may get grilled for this comment, was the 14th hole was a par 5, okay? Not very long, 518 yards. But the one thing that kind of stood out to me a lot about this hole is it gave Pine Valley vibes. And for anybody that's ever had the fortunate opportunity to go play there, the second hole at Pine Valley has this like long bunker waste area with different spots on it that, sometimes the ball nestles into. Well, that hole at Blue Heron Pines, the 14th, kind of mirrored that in its own little way. Whereas when you're laying up on this par 5, you either have to lay it short of this big waste area with different
Yeah.
land spots, mounds, or you had to hit it over. And as I was walking up there, I'm like, man, this is giving Pine Valley second hole vibes right here. I know it's not that, but it's not as inclined as Pine Valley. I understand all the intricacies, but I was really impressed with
The
that hole
optics.
specifically. Yeah.
Yeah. Is it how far out is this? So you could hit driver on hole
Driver.
14. I got Google Maps out.
Yep.
You
yep.
can hit driver, and then you're either lay to cover all the water.
It's a big waste area. It's just a big waste area.
But I'm saying,
the drive?
The drive.
Yeah,
you got to go over the water.
Yep.
And then you're laying up short of the waste area.
I went over it.
Okay, big boy.
I just said I'm just going to hit 3-wood, and I'm just going to see where this thing ends up.
So how far out is the waste area? Like if you were to lay up short of the waste area, and
you probably have about
reach...
you probably have 170.
Wow.
It's either I bet you it goes from like the 170 range to about the 80-yard range.
Okay.
Because my third shot into the green was, if I remember correctly, was like 66 yards. And I probably had maybe 15 yards where I just had carried the waste area.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a dicey little layup.
Yeah.
It
and
is.
a long hole then. If you're going driver 3-wood, it's all of 3 shots then.
Yeah, but you got to take into consideration it was soaking wet.
Super wet,
So you're not really there's not much rollout per se.
But even still, you're not rolling up to that green either, because there's a bunker in front of it. As I'm looking at it on Google Maps. Interesting.
Yeah.
But I mean, well-placed bunkers, because then if you look at like this little corner of the property here that's got 13 little dogleg left with bunkers all down the left side, and then 14 like we just talked about, and then 15's kind of in the middle with a tight landing zone.
Tight. You want to talk about tight landing zone? The hardest hole in the golf course right there, man.
It looks like it, because that's an enormous bunker. And for someone with your shot shape, you got to be nervous bringing the water into play. I think I'd be a little less nervous with mine, but nervous nonetheless. And then to a green that's oval, kind of going diagonal from you, is well-placed bunkering as well. That is a brutal hole.
Yeah, it's a great listen.
That's
a
great little stretch. That's a great little 4 holes over there of property. Yeah.
I think when I was leaving there, it was kind of like I was waiting for you to say like, okay, well, what's your grade on this thing? Because I know that you're big into the rating thing, and I know that you put that out a couple weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought the best way for me to describe that place was that it was like a high B+, a low A-. Okay. Like it wasn't in that upper echelon of
88 to 92.
Yes, I would say it's probably I said a 90. I'd give that like a 90, like a solid B+, to where it wasn't, to my standards, a Ballyowen, Francis Byrne, Neshannock, Blue Heron Glen. Like it wasn't there, right?
Wasn't as good as Heron Glen.
No. Okay. Right. But I would say like when you start venturing down to that like next level, like it could definitely nibble at some of those other people's toes.
Okay.
You know, I definitely thought it had the necessary traits in my eyes to be like, okay, you know, this is a solid public golf course.
And do you think that has to do more with the conditions because it was soaking wet? Like, do you think that, like, trying to get rid of it, do you think it gets, how much better do you think it gets with perfect conditions?
A tad better. Maybe a little firmer, faster. You know, I think that's any golfer prefers firm and fast that are over wet and soft, no doubt about it. So I don't know how much higher it could have got for me. Okay. Maybe it could sneak into 92 if you're asking me for a number.
Yeah.
Maybe 93, but I can't go higher than 93, even on a perfect day.
Yeah. But so here's another way to compare it, is putting it to other courses. So when I look at, like, you and I played Heron Glen, I would have guessed that they would have been on a similar plane, but you're saying that Heron Glen was a better golf course.
I do.
Okay. Again, I haven't been there, so I can't say any more to that, but I would like to. And if you remember from when we had Ron Jaworski on, we're going this summer to go play him down there. I know our scheduler's on that, so he's making that work. So that's kind of It's gonna be a fun day.
No comment.
All right, I like that, Mike. I would say moving from there, and speaking of golf course ratings, Golf Digest top 100 ratings came out, and Pine Valley got the top spot again. There were some others on there. Is there any that you want to specifically talk about, or just?
Well, I think it's important we touch on the 4 in the top 100 that were there,
Okay.
and I love the fact that Pine Valley was still number 1 on that list. Because I think, when we're talking golfing in the Garden State, what better than the golf course in the United States being ranked number 1,
Right.
be right here in our backyard.
I do want to get, before you get in, just so people know, number 1 was Pine Valley, number 2 was Augusta. National, that is, they host a tournament every year there. Cypress Point was 3, Shinnecock was 4, and Oakmont was 5. And Oakmont, obviously, where they have the U.S. Open there this year. So kind of
Right.
rounded out the top 5.
Which I'm kind of stunned with Cypress not being number 2 and Augusta being number 2 instead of that. But that could be a topic for another day. I do want to shout out the 4 New Jersey golf courses. Baltusrol, the lower course, was ranked 42. Somerset Hills, which I can't wait till you and I get to in mid-June, is ranked number 56. And then Plainfield was ranked number 74. Those are the only 4 New Jersey golf courses in the top 100. Now, they also put out the next 100, and there was more golf courses in there, but I figured the focus could be on the top 100. Knowing that those are the 4 New Jersey courses listed inside of it. And I'm not sure if you have a take on any of that, but, kudos to those 4. We just got the Plainfield. The USGA just had the 4 ball there at Plainfield. A lot of people spoke very, very highly of that spot. But those are the 4 from New Jersey holding down the fort.
Yeah, I mean, I think it is pretty unanimous that those are the top 4 in New Jersey, at least in some kind of order. Regardless, Baltusrol Upper being on there is really intriguing to me.
Not on there. It's lower on there.
Baltusrol Upper is 84 on the list that I'm looking at.
Okay. So then maybe I made a mistake. Maybe I didn't put them in there.
Somerset Hills 56, Baltusrol Lower 42, Pine Valley number 1. Where's the other one that you said? 42,
Plainfield.
56. Plainfield's 90.
Oh, so I left out Upper.
So
did I leave out Upper?
Yeah.
I did leave out Upper. I apologize.
That's okay.
Maybe
Maybe you were putting them together. That's what I just assumed. So I think that just goes to show how good Baltusrol is, and I'm very excited to get there, Mike. Somerset Hills, super excited to get to. I mean, these are top courses in the country that we have right here, and if we even were to go to like Marion is 6, and that's just outside of our, we talk about, like, yes, Garden State, but you have just outside of where we're talking about. National Golf Links on Long Island is a little outside of us, but you know what? I'm going to do a quick search. I wonder where Bethpage is on this. Like, I would put Bethpage is 38. So, we talk constantly about how good the golf is around here, and it's true. I don't know where, we haven't played the lower course. We haven't played Somerset. We've played Plainfield, and Plainfield is excellent. I think well deserving of being on there. And I'm excited to at the end of this summer, because we know we have Somerset planned. I know Baltusrol's in the works, so we're going to be able to compare these and have kind of a better idea. But I think this list only shows why we started this podcast, and is the reason why we have great golf here. And if you expand outside the area, again, you go up to, like, you go a little bit out to Marion, and Is Philly cricket on here? I don't know if it is, but like you go outside just a little bit, you go into New York just a little bit with like Wingfoot and out to Bethpage. You talk about this area that we have here is it just an incredible section of golf.
Yeah. So I appreciate the correction there. So there are 5 in the top 100 from New Jersey. There are. But Pine Valley, Baltusrol, Upper and Lower, Somerset, Plainfield. I stand corrected there. That was a little slip up by me. But I will say this about the
Again,
ratings.
I just took that it was both.
Yeah. I kind of butchered that. But my only issue with the rankings is this. And I don't know if everybody fully understands the rating system, right? Because it's not every single golf course, right? These raters have to go play them. They have to have the doors be open to them. They have to be allowed in. And some golf courses, frankly, don't want that. So when people see this list, they're like, oh, it's not always the case. So that's what aggravates me a little bit about it, because the average person isn't educated enough to really understand the ins and outs and the real things that go on behind the scenes. And I'm not trying to be that guy that like opens up the door and shows out like, oh, they're not doing it the right way. But this is not a real list. It's not. And I hate to be like the bearer of bad news, but like there are courses that decline this and say, no, thank you. I don't want to be rated. So they're not in there. So, like, I do think that these guys, and I'm not trying to call out like Steve Hennessy and Derek Duncan and all these guys that put the list together. Like, I'm sure there's like notes somewhere that says like, here's who's rated, they kind of give it out. But I would like a list that includes all of them. Give me the best 100 courses, regardless if a rater played it or not. And I think there needs to be a real list for the people. I do.
Yeah, I just don't know how realistic that is. Who's the group of people that are doing it? Because you have to have different opinions. Because even on this, you and I differ in our opinions. So you have to have a group of people being able to do it. And then still, you can't force a club to change or to allow you on. Like Butler National outside of Chicago is they used to host PGA Tour events there every year, and then the PGA Tour said no, until you allow women in, we're not going to host there. And they said, okay, well then you're not coming back. And still women are not allowed at Butler National, and they're fine with that. So a club like that probably is not allowing people to come and rate their course because it's just that they're okay with that, to your point. So I get what you mean, but I don't know how we could make it better.
I get what you're saying, right? Like, oh, you got to have a rater go play. But I also think like it's hard then to say it's America's 100 greatest golf courses if everybody's not being included.
And Mike, to that point, Butler National's number 87 on this list as I'm scrolling through here.
Yeah, I don't know. Listen, I get it. It gets people like me fired up because I don't think it's accurate in every respect. But I also know it's an inaccurate way it's an imperfect way to do everything.
Is there a place that's missing then? Because the thing that I think all the places that would be ranked are on here. But you look at a place like, again, just while I'm scrolling through this list here, Hudson National is 88. People talk about that place with the highest regard that could possibly have. Maybe not enough raters have gone there to give it anything lower than an 88 or to be ranked 88th. You know what I mean? Like maybe it just hasn't had the foot traffic to get there. So that to me, that's a point I can jump on because it is allowing people there, but just not enough for getting there. Because if you remember when we had Steven on, he said, you have to have X number of raters get there in a matter of, 2 years or 3 years or whatever the case is. So maybe that I could buy a little bit more than we don't have the top courses.
Well, I mean, in there, it says in the ratings, it says, like courses must have a minimum of 50 evaluations over a 10-year scoring period to qualify.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't know, like 10 years ago is a long time to be going deep in the archives about golf courses, the way renovation and restoration and all these different things that are occurring.
Totally
Like
agree to
that's an old standard.
that. Hmm.
And listen, I will say this, and I'll put this out there. When Golf Digest released their top New Jersey courses, you can bet your bottom dollar I'll be reaching out to Steve to say, hey, listen, we need you to get back on the show, and we need to kind of put you back in the hot seat to talk more in depth about this because um, I have some bones to pick.
Yeah.
I do.
Yeah. I don't want to say like they hide behind that, like the rating system, but I don't know how you make it better. I don't know how you do better there, but it is what it is. It's something we can go off of. It's creating conversation. So it's what we got. Mike, let's move away from the golf course ratings here. You know, we could talk about that for hours, you and I, and you know, frankly, we kind of already have. And let's move into the Mid-Am, which is next week at Morris County Golf Club. As we said at the top of this episode, Craig Smith is our interview for this week. It's starting next Tuesday, so next Tuesday's episode, we'll have a lot more to say on it. But let's the tee times did come out, and who's playing in it did come out. So let's you want to go through it real quick and just, you know, kind of make a prediction here or look at the times and kind of go from there.
Yeah, I mean, listen, you got a lot of big names here, and it's always interesting to see who is able to fit this in their schedule to play. And you got, you know, you'll hear on Thursday when Craig comes on, he picks the hometown hero Norman Lewis as his ringer to win the event, knowing how well he knows the golf course. Norman's got the first tee time out there on next Tuesday, June 3rd. He's got the 7:30 spot. I'm sure he has that every weekend anyway. But Norman's out there. And then you go name after name after name after name. And I think if you're asking me to make a prediction, I think the 42nd Mid-Am champion is Troy Vanucci.
I love that, Mike. Oh, um, oh, you're a jerk. Troy just won the Gap event. I'm blanking on
Mid-Am. He won the Gap
Mid-Am.
Mid-Am. Yeah.
So maybe you get a special trophy for holding both Mid-Ams. But I mean, his teeing off at 12:05 with Ethan Wall, friend of the show, playing great golf. I that's such a great pick. Really is a good one. I don't know how Austin's going to feel about you going against him, but were you not thinking he's going back to back there?
I just think I think it's a loaded field. And I listen, could it be any of these guys? I mean, frankly, could it be Eric Lafante? Sure. Could it be Chester Patterson? Sure. I mean, could it be Jason Bataille? Sure. Like, we're going through all guests of Anthony and Campanile. Like, we've gone through guest upon guest on the show, Pat Wilson. Like, I could keep going if you want me to. The names are just, it's a loaded field. You're asking me to make a prediction. We got Corey Brigham in the field. Our first ever guest on the podcast is in the field.
Yeah.
Like, it's a loaded field. And I just went with the hot hand, knowing that Troy just had won the Gap Mid-Am, and I just going to ride the hot hand here.
Yeah, I'm gonna make for poor radio and probably not disagree with you, but to make it interesting, you know what, Mike? You know what I'm gonna do, Mike? I like Jerry Wall for this week. I like Jerry. Played good golf. You know, him and Ethan made a run at the 4-ball, making it very far. So playing well. I'm gonna go Jerry. Jerry takes it this week.
Wow. I mean, Jerry's going to love hearing that. There's not a guy that we had some conversations off air. Jerry is a guy that is fit for radio. I mean, his little one-liners, his personality, his salesman, I mean, would do unbelievably well.
Mm-hmm.
I would love to see Jerry get a win here as well. And nonetheless, keeping that Manasquan River theme alive.
100%. At least play well. I could see Jerry's playing good golf. That's a name that pops to me. I don't know. But again, like you said, Chester, Eric, I know Anthony's been grinding. Campanile is right up there. I don't know how we could not say Austin or Pat as well. So
Loaded.
yeah, it is a
Names.
loaded field. Loaded field. So and I'm sure Corey was not happy with his showing at the 4-ball. So I'm sure he's been grinding over his game and trying to make it work. So yeah, like you said, loaded fields, but yeah, I don't know. Jerry just pops to me. But Troy also, hot hand, tough to beat right now. Very tough to beat. So we'll talk more about the mid-am next week for our episode. That'll be a big topic for next week. But they did come out with the tee time, so we did want to kind of go through that. And you know what, Mike, maybe we can make a little adjustments there if we need to. We'll look at some of the data and analytics and break down.
Well, we'll see if anybody scratches. See if anybody decides last minute they don't want in, and then it changes things up for us.
For sure. So, all right, that's it for Mike and I today. Stay tuned Thursday for our interview with Craig Smith. Again, head pro at Morris County Golf Club. I don't know why I said it 9 other times. I don't know why I blacked out on that one. But Craig comes on and talks about all things with the course and does a really good job of kind of breaking it down, what you need to hit, where you need to hit, what you need to do. So stay tuned Thursday for that interview. Till then, cheers.